That's right, yeah.
So we can get.
Okay, this is a special meeting that was requested based on a conversation at our last board meeting. We'll still run it as a normal meeting, so if you don't mind, anybody that can, please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at our last board meeting, at the very end, at the public comment, I apologized to Mr. Dennis Raymond about some of the way things have gone in terms of how just the way things have gone. And we agreed that he would have an opportunity to have a discussion. It was generally thought I would be with me. He requested it to be with the full board, so that's why we have to have it in a public comment or public session. So tonight's we can give you 25 minutes tonight because we have a 6:30 meeting. I'm hoping we can make it quicker than that, but Mr. Raymond, if you'd like to take the floor, it's your opportunity to.
Well, it's your ballgame. You were going to try to tell me what you were going to do to resolve this, so I'd like to hear from you first, and then I'll give you my comments. I mean, that's the way you presented it to me.
Which thing do you want to resolve? I guess that's
I want to resolve the problem on Fish Lake Road and SA Lane, all the stuff that's been going on. I filed another police report. I'm tired of being harassed. Driveway, my wife being harassed, his buddies, my neighbor, and everything else. We've gone to court. He's still doing it. There's no trespassing sign there now. It must have blown out. I don't care. I see his vehicle there. It's supposed to be parked in the pole barn. I can see it from, even he's got his berm. He's got a truck there. He's got, looks like a horse trailer and a bunch of other stuff. Detective Potts, who came to my house to take my report, him and I both seen him driving out of that driveway. Nothing is being done, okay? He's gone to court, he's got a fine, he's still doing it. It's been going on for 11 years. I'm tired of it. You reached out and said that you'll try to resolve it. So all I'm telling you is that this stuff is still going on, and I don't know what you can do or what you want to do, but right now, there's no trespassing sign, okay? Like I said, it's blown away. I don't care. I'm tired of this, and I do have a lawyer, and if I have to, we'll go to court, okay? And there'll be a lot of subpoenas, that's all I can tell you, because I'm tired of it, okay? I'm tired of my wife being harassed by this idiot. He's throwing stones at me and everything else. I got all the police reports. So you're the one that wants to resolve my complaints of coming here. So let's try to figure this out, because if not, I'm not gonna wait for 6 months like Lisa. 6 months when this started, and all these emails, which I'm not gonna go over them again, but I'm tired of doing this. She is not doing what the hell she's supposed to do. So now you're her boss. Tell me what you're going to do to try to resolve this, because I'm not waiting.
Okay.
I will go to court.
All right, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to come to the podium.
Can I sit, please? Because I'm not
Then
getting knee
I'm going to ask you to, we have that other chair there?
Yeah.
Brian, would you mind moving that podium, and we'll have you sit in the chair there? So
I can't stand too long.
I'll just wait for
that way we don't have to yell back and forth and.
Okay.
Okay, so here's what I'm getting from your conversation right now. You're talking about two different things, and you're saying he, and we're not resolving something. In other words, there's another individual that you're referring to on SA Lane.
Well, that's another issue, according to the lawyer. That's a whole separate issue, so that'll be another issue.
Okay,
right
so
now I'm only dealing with the last court order where Stocker got fined and he's still in violation. He's supposed to be putting his tow truck behind there. I got a copy of the transcript. He's in violation of all this, and nothing is still, he's still going on. In fact, the day after you went to court, he drove right in, after he was found in contempt of court, drove right in. I called Lisa, told her to get out there, didn't do a damn thing. The day after you went to court, he drove right in there with his tow trucks. I called, okay, am I gonna go there? No. It's up to you to investigate it. She didn't do anything. I'm tired of this. 11 years of this garbage.
Okay. I'd like our attorney, Paul Groth, to be
Yes.
able to respond to that so that we can all understand what the court ordered and
Sure.
what's allowed
Sure.
by Mr. Stocker.
Well, just to give everybody knows the scenario, I filed a show cause action against Mr. Stocker back in January of this year. Ultimately, he was found responsible. He was fined $1,000, and then he was only permitted to have 2 of his flatbed trucks on the property for a period of 48 hours or no more. Now, it doesn't, if I can just finish for a moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't prevent him from bringing flatbed trucks onto the property, so he can still, come in and out of there as he chooses. There's really no restriction against that. And I think the board is aware, then Lisa and the Oakland County Sheriff's Department went out this past August to do an inspection and found really that he had even cleaned up a lot of the outside storage that he had occurring earlier in the year. So that had improved, according to Lisa. And then also, she really found no evidence of any type of business operation that was ongoing. So we have, in essence, have closed our pursuit at this point, unless there is other evidence that shows otherwise.
Okay, first of all, the court order does read he's only supposed to have one, and it's supposed to be in his pole barn. I have the copy sitting right there. And he's only supposed, and he said in his transcript that he will put the other one on another piece of property. He's only supposed to have one on his property, and it's supposed to be in a pole barn. And number 2, I have no problem with him bringing in the flatbeds. What I'm trying to tell you is that he had a junk car on it the day after court. He had a junk car on there. And I called, and nothing got done, and it says that I have a copy of the court order, and I don't know what you're saying, but, I agree with you on the flatbed, but he had a junk car. Detective Potts has seen him coming out of his driveway with a junk car.
But there's nothing prohibiting.
It says it in there, he can't have anybody working, he can't have any junk cars. It says it in there, you want me, I can get it out
Well,
of
he
it.
can't be working, but he can bring a flatbed with a junk car periodically onto the property.
No, it
So-
doesn't say that in the court order.
Okay, well,
It does
I
not
just-
say that in the court
I
order.
would disagree.
Well, fine, I'll give you a copy of the court order, you make the judgment. Irregardless, he's still doing it today. Okay, it's not closed out, he may have gotten a fine, but he's still doing it. Which, if it's closed out, then let's start the whole process over again, and let's turn around and go after him again. So if you're telling me it's closed, it's starting up again, so therefore, it's another incident. So,
Well, I think the situation here, Dennis, is that you've never been satisfied with any of the process.
no, I haven't, I've
Yeah.
got 57
Now, hey,
emails.
hold on, please. Hold on. Right now, we're having a conversation here because this was the request.
Let me get the floor, Dennis.
I'll give you a minute. You've been unhappy from the get-go, and I'm not saying you should be happy about how some of the stuff went.
Right.
But what I'm getting at is, we followed the process that we were required to follow. Did it happen in the time frame and your expectations? Probably not. I would say that's probably one of the big things, is you're not happy with how the process went in terms of
Okay,
speed.
so how is it
So-
supposed to be done?
We engaged our attorney. We escalated from $75 to $150 to, let's go to court.
Right.
And it went to court, and the judge is the one that made the decision. And the irony of all these things is that, once again, it happens so often, this is a civil issue. The township did what the township can do to escalate it to the point where now it's gone to court. Now he's been in front of the judge, and he's supposedly doing what he's required to do. You're insisting, and this is my interpretation, you're insisting that he has a junkyard operation going there because he has 2 tow trucks.
No, he has 2 tow trucks, listen to me. In the court order, he can keep one on his property, it has to be in a pole barn. The second one can be on another piece of property, which he said he would do, okay? The other thing is about the inspection, Lisa called them before and said, we're coming for an inspection. What are you gonna do if you got all this stuff? You're gonna hide it as quick as you come. How ridiculous is that? She called him and said, can we come out and inspect? He's gonna go, oh my God, I gotta move this, gotta move this. Sure, when you go there, it's all cleaned up. I mean, come on. And what I'm trying to tell you is that right after court, I called her, emailed her, and I have the emails, and told her that he's doing it. He's back in violation. Nothing occurred from this situation, nothing. Okay, she dropped the ball again. You're right. You know, it's been 57 emails of absolutely nothing. In my opinion, it's totally ridiculous. I'm sorry, but, you know, if you have an ordinance problem and you're not following them, that's not my problem, okay? That's Lisa's problem. So all I'm saying is that this is all starting over again and nothing has been done. Now, we'll go back to S.A. Lane, okay? S.A. Lane, it was the same thing. She waited and waited and waited until she got blocked in by him and she couldn't get there because of the no trespassing sign. All I'm saying, S.A. Lane goes back, way back, because I took pictures and submitted them. She did absolutely nothing with the pictures, and you said, well, there's leaves, we can't see nothing. That's true. I took the pictures in March. She didn't do anything. She still has not done anything. All I'm saying is that all this is being totally out of line because she is not doing what she's supposed to. And I'll agree, you know, it's down to the point where it's resolved, but what ordinances are you gonna follow? Let's start another one. Here I go. I'm telling you right now, there's no trespassing sign. He's got all of this stuff there. It's a violation of court order, and I'll make a copy of it and I'll send it to you tomorrow. And it says about his tow trucks, and he can't bring people, he's working there, he still has his repair business. Cars are going in and out, okay, and they're being there all day. I can hear the jackhammer, I can hear everything going on. Okay, I can't see it, but I can hear it. So all I'm trying to tell you, it's still going on. He's in violation of, it may be done, but he's still in violation of, you know, the court order, in my opinion. So all I'm saying is that there's no trespassing sign. So I'm telling you here and everybody, Lisa can go there tomorrow or somebody and see his tow truck, his other junk cars there. Naturally, if she's gonna say I'm coming, he's gonna get rid of all of them. This is what he does. On the weekends, you're closed. On the weekends, here comes the cars, okay? 5 o'clock or 4:30 on Friday, after you're all gone, there he goes again, okay? That's all I'm telling you. It's not getting done. The ordinances are not being followed. Now, I'll just off the track, his electrical. He's had his pole barn up for 5 years, okay? He still hasn't applied for an electrical permit, okay? He has been given a ticket of 75. The next one he has to do by November the 1st, and it goes to 150. He just ignores everything in this township. He ignores all of the rules of the court. He ignores the rules of the township ordinances. He does whatever he wants to. I'm tired of getting threatened, and I'm going to court to do something about it, okay? And if everybody's got to be subpoenaed that has an effect on this, my lawyer says fine. And my lawyer was also an ordinance officer, so he's not dumb as to what's going on. So that's all I'm trying to tell you. I want this stuff resolved, and again, we'll start another case. There's no trespassing sign, there's no reason why she can't go there. I can't go there, but she's the ordinance officer. It says it right in the ordinances. She does the complaint, she goes down there and checks it all out. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I have all those emails. It's resolved now, but in the past, she has not gone out there. And I showed you copies. Oh, I'll check it out later. Thanks for this, thanks for that. Oh, he's doing it again. It took 6 months before she called Mr. Roth. 6 months. That's why we're in this situation. That's all I'm trying to tell you. It's like, you want to start it over again? There's your opportunity. I'm telling you, he's got stuff there right now. That's all I'm telling
So,
you.
Mr. Groff, would you,
Well, again, I guess it would, I mean, there is nothing prohibiting us from going forward with another court action. However, we need evidence to support the activity that's going on there, and right now, I don't know if we have enough evidence. I mean, we
All you
might.
gotta do is go there. Why can't she go there? I can't go there, but she's an ordinance officer. You keep telling me that you don't have the evidence. I'm giving you the opportunity to go there. The stuff is there right now, okay?
Well-
And don't give me, and it says she's supposed to investigate my complaint, okay? I'm telling you right now, investigate the complaint. Go with her, okay? That you keep beating around the bush that there's no evidence. I'm telling you, it's
No,
there.
but
And I'm
we-
sick and tired of telling you.
But they did do an inspection in August.
I told you, how stupid is it? Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I'm coming to your house. Oh, I gotta get rid of all this stuff. Why did she even call? How damn dumb is that? How dumb is that? She even told me that she called him, that they're coming for an inspection. God, how ridiculous is that?
okay, I'm
call
gonna
somebody.
inject something here.
Okay,
That inspection was not done by Lisa alone.
I
It
know.
was done because the permission, correct me if I'm wrong, Lieutenant Snyder, the permission was given to the sheriffs to go there.
okay. But
And
she called.
it was not done in enough time, in other words, the time between when she called and when they went, he could not have moved all that stuff out of there.
I think it was like
let's
2
see,
days.
1,
Like
2,
2 days.
3.
It was like 1 or 2 days.
One or two
The other
days.
option,
Was one, yeah, okay.
Let Mr.
is,
I will.
the other option would be us drafting a search warrant, which we wouldn't have had enough evidence to get the affidavit for the search warrant.
I realize that, but again, she called 2 days before, and he's got at least 4 employees, that 2 of them drive his tow trucks, 1 of them drives a truck to pick up his salvage, and then you've got him. So you have at least 5 people there that could have gotten rid of this stuff, and don't tell me that it can't happen. 2 days, she called, we're coming out in 2 days. Come on now, if I called you, you'd be getting rid of stuff if I told you you're gonna have an inspection, and you can't tell me he can't get rid of it in 5 days. All he's gotta do is drive it down to SA Lane. What does that take? 3, 4 minutes? 3, 4 minutes to drive all of this stuff down to SA Lane. Now, I'm sorry, to me, that's totally ridiculous that he couldn't have done it in 2 days, and then you announce it, that he's coming.
Well, there's a matter of opinion here, and I'm not saying your opinion's wrong.
I got it
'cause
in emails, I'll give it to you in
I'm
emails.
not saying your opinion's wrong, but there are things that we cannot do that you would love to have us do. It'd be great if we could just walk in his door and knock
Come
on
on.
it and do that. Okay, your name and address, please.
Henry Nedzla, 6019 Fish Lake Road. I've been here before. All of you know what's going on. I pay taxes, he pays taxes. You want us to put up the warrants, you want us to do the inspections, you want us to do your job. We have trustees, we have a supervisor, we have an ordinance and a code for this Highland. It's your job, not mine, not his. And why the heck do you keep pushing it back on us, and you have an attorney that, I wouldn't use that attorney for love nor money. For that type of representation, and for letting this stuff go on like this, is absurd. He's absurd, you're absurd, this whole fiasco's absurd. You ought to be ashamed of what's going on.
All I'm asking is that she follow the number 1 rule. I make a complaint, she's supposed to investigate it. He keeps telling me that they need the evidence. There it is. How simple is this? I make a complaint, you go, and she's supposed to, she has not done that.
All right,
That's number 1.
We've heard that.
I know,
a
I
bunch of
keep
times.
beating
Thank
it.
you.
Okay.
Mr. Dover?
Well, I've heard this several times. I'm not gonna count. I've heard Mr. Raymond reference that one of these properties has no trespassing signs. If I've listened to him correctly, he's under the impression that an ordinance officer for the township can go on property notwithstanding a no trespassing sign. That is not an accurate understanding of the law. That no trespassing sign applies to everyone. The only way a township can go on property for purposes of investigating a violation is with consent or with a search warrant. And consent, it sounds like, is what was given for this August inspection. Now, how many, was it 2 days notice of conditional consent? I don't know. I've said it at prior meetings that to get an administrative search warrant, there needs to be some facts established in an affidavit. And whether the judge or magistrate requires the person signing the affidavit to actually come to court and testify to what's in the affidavit, that's up to the judge or magistrate. It remains my understanding that the residents that are affected by these operations or out there, for whatever reason, are reluctant to provide an affidavit or provide testimony that might allow for an administrative search warrant. If an administrative search warrant is asked for and issued by the court, there is no requirement, unless the judge imposes one, to give advance notice. So, to implement what Mr. Raymond is asking for would require the administrative search warrant approach rather than the consent approach. Because if you're having to ask for consent, then you're giving advance notice that you want to do a search. And the scenario that he suggests has happened, clearly can play out. So that is how it works. The code enforcement officer, I'm sure her job description is to investigate matters, but she can't trespass. She goes on property without the proper consent or search warrant. There's two things that can happen. Number one, any evidence that is gathered, photographs, observations, can't be used in court. Number two, we end up getting sued for a civil rights violation. And those are expensive.
First of all,
I mean,
right now.
I'm not done.
Oh, you're not done, fine.
Civil rights violations, it doesn't matter if any damages are incurred by the person claiming it or not. If you have entered on their property without lawful authority, you've violated their civil rights. They don't have to be damaged one penny. They can get that filed in court. If they can convince the court that a violation of civil rights has occurred, we're on the hook for all of their attorney fees. It is an untenable exposure that you do not want to get into. So, a code officer doesn't have the kind of authority and power that Mr. Raymond wants, and quite frankly, probably the board would as well. It'd be a wonderful thing if the code enforcement officer could go around, go on property, look at it whenever they wanted to, not concern themselves with whether they have permission or not. They'd be able to gather all sorts of evidence. That's not the law. And that's what we're stuck with. And sometimes it creates a situation like this. I've heard Mr. Raymond indicate that he's been threatened, that his wife has been threatened. So clearly, the folks that are committing these violations know he is complaining. But I have no understanding of the reluctance to sign an affidavit, to allow the township and its prosecuting attorney to conduct searches under a search warrant without notice, taking away this issue that's been brought up tonight, that Lisa goofed up because she gave too much notice. Without a search warrant, she had to get consent. How do you get consent? You call them up, or you send them a letter, regardless.
So, on that scenario, one of the things, Mr. Raymond, that this was months and months ago, when we asked, would you please sign an affidavit? You refused to sign an affidavit because you wanted me to sign something. I'm not the party to that. Affidavit is from you to ask us or the court to get a warrant. You refused, sir, to do that. You refused.
What about, can I ask, why, if Lisa went there and there were no trespassing signs way before, okay, and she found stuff, why isn't it that she can't sign an affidavit? Explain that one to me. She's seen it, explain to me why she can't sign it, and yours, was a separate issue because it has to do with S.A. Lane, which you told me in one of these meetings that you've seen him driving in with his truck, you're on your motorcycle, and you've seen that. That's a separate issue. Why can't you sign, when we bring that up, why couldn't you sign the affidavit? I'm talking about S.A. Lane. I'm talking about Paul here saying it's two separate issues. You're right, I didn't sign the affidavit on Fish Lake, but you also, if we bring it up, why won't you sign an affidavit? Why
I'd go to
can't
court in a
Lisa?
flash.
Pardon?
I would go to court in a flash and say that I saw his truck on S.A. Lane. It doesn't mean that I saw him drive
Okay,
it
so
back in there.
if we get to that point, then you'll sign an affidavit.
I have no problem
Okay,
doing
fine.
what's necessary, but what I'm getting at
I know.
is,
Mr. Hamel?
I didn't say it.
yes,
DeVille has a
Yes, sir.
comment on
I
that.
want to make sure I've heard Mr. Raymond correctly. Are you saying that there are no trespassing signs up?
As
Or
of
or that
today,
there is a no trespassing sign up?
there are no trespassing signs up today when I came to this meeting.
So it's posted
None.
against trespass?
Pardon?
It
So
says no trespassing.
there are signs up that say no trespassing?
Right, that's what it
Okay.
said. There is no
Okay,
sign
because I'm
up
just
there
one other
that says
thing.
no trespassing.
I defended a civil rights case in another community. There was no posting against trespass. Code officer had received a complaint from a resident, and they went up into the driveway, and they looked in the backyard and saw a violation, and wrote it up. Even without a no trespassing sign up, that was found to have violated the civil rights of the property owner. And it was an expensive lawsuit. So, I mean, there's a risk management element here that, I understand that the citizenry may not be thinking about it, but the township, if it's not, certainly should. And I suspect that's why Lisa is cautious in terms of how she goes about her business.
so in response to, what can we do going forward?
Well, if there is.
Now, let me finish.
Okay,
Here's what we can do. Sign an affidavit, get a search warrant, and let's take it forward from there. That's the next step we can take. The S.A. Lane thing, that's a different scenario. What's
Right.
happened there,
Okay.
that guy got in trouble with the state of Michigan. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has occurred from that, operating without a license, so there's,
well, I
that's
heard
a
that was
separate.
thrown out. I heard-
It could be thrown out. I don't have any information on that, other
Well,
than
then
that was
where
what
do I
was
get the
the
information?
start. I don't have it.
Well, somebody, a police officer went there and gave him, wrote him up,
I'm
And I
not
found-
sure, I don't have
I
the answer to that. Matt, do you know anything about that?
and it was thrown out, is what I was told by the officer.
Yeah, it's a violation, but it's not a law. So it's reported to the state, it was reported, documented, reported to the state, but
Okay,
it's
I-
not an actual
Mr. Hamel?
Okay.
crime
Yeah.
that was committed.
Yeah, nobody told me about that. All they said was thrown out. So right now, there is no trespassing there. So in my case, when I went to court before, okay, I was the only, this is what gets me, I was the only one that testified. When Lisa came to say something, nobody said anything. When Trish Pilkowski was there, she never said anything. All the onus is on me. Why didn't you call them to also tell them what she's seen? I have those, I have those court orders. I mean, you never brought her on the stand, it was only me.
But that was a different issue back then. This was back in 2011, I think.
It's the same
or-
issue. It was the same issue. Hauling junk cars,
Right.
operating junk cars on there,
Okay.
and doing repair work. It's the same thing. I
Because you were-
paid for, the transcripts, so I read them.
Okay.
All I'm telling you is that if I sign the affidavit, okay, that's why I'm getting harassed by him, okay? I'm getting stones thrown in and everything else. Why don't you put Lisa on the stand and say, this is what she's seen? She did tell me she's been down there way before, okay, she was down there. She says, I've taken pictures, I've got license plate numbers, none of that was presented. You did not put her on the stand. I was the only one that was the bad guy. So now I'm getting hassled by him, getting threatened, okay, and I'm tired of it.
Well,
Why
she was-
wasn't
but
Bill
she-
Messenger, why didn't he get up there? I'm saying, I'll sign it, but the township is not backing me. They're
No,
not
no,
backing me.
I want to beg to differ with you there.
Okay.
When you and your neighbor,
I'm talking about '06 or '08.
well, I'm just saying, moving forward, I made it very clear that I wanted to try and help make this go away. And if you recall, both of you and your neighbor came into my office and we sat down and had a good I thought should have been a productive conversation. I kind of kicked it in the butt to put it in a different light. We got Lisa to do some more footwork, if you want to call it that. But let's stop at this point, because what's happened is now we've got this scenario where we got the past. You got a court order. The next step has to be that we have to be able to catch the individual in the act.
Okay.
Okay, so, and Ned, in response to your point about how it's our responsibility to do things, the only way things like this can work is if the community works together. You work with us and help us, it helps us help you. We don't have as much authority. The public believes we can do anything we want. We cannot. So what we have to do is, we need your help. When I specifically asked, this would have been probably back in court and something else even more serious done if the time months ago you had signed an affidavit. You were upset, it didn't happen, so here's what we do. Let's start now. Let's do that now.
But you're telling me you want my help. Again, I keep bringing up why, I'll make a complaint here. Is Lisa gonna go out here tomorrow? Or is it gonna be 6 months? Or whatever. I'm just asking. It says she's to investigate. It's right in your ordinances. All I'm asking is he has no trespassing. There's nothing there. Come right out of my driveway. There's nothing there. He's got several vehicles there. He's got cars. I'm asking you now, if she's gonna go out there, or is she gonna sit there and wait for 6 months, and then he'll probably put up a no trespassing sign, and here we are again, because she sat around and didn't, that's all I'm asking.
Okay, that's
all
been
I'm asking.
repeated over and over, we get that point.
Okay,
So what I'm trying to get at is, you sign the affidavit, our attorney can take it to court, the court can issue, hopefully, a warrant to investigate, and until that warrant's available, we can do nothing. We won't do anything until that warrant's available. When that warrant's available, we'll get right on it.
then who's gonna protect me and my family? Are you gonna issue a PPO against him? Is that, am I asking, hey, I'm being threatened here. Are you gonna issue a PPO against this guy?
Well, I don't issue PPOs, the judge does.
Right, I'm
You're
saying,
not
are
the
you gonna
only one that
request
is
it?
being threatened. I've been threatened.
Okay,
And
well
I'll be
then,
damned if I'm gonna sit here and listen to this crap. You have zoning and ordinances here. It's your job to enforce them. What do we have them for? Throw them out. Anybody can move into the city, call ours Christian on, start a church at your beautiful golf field out there. Forget it.
So all I'm asking is that, if I go to court, you know what he's gonna do. I sign the affidavit, he's coming after me. He's not coming after you, he's not coming after Lisa, or whoever else you have. How am I gonna get protected? That's why I am not signing the affidavit, because I'm being threatened. Now, if Paul could get to the judge and say, hey, I got these police reports, I have stones thrown at me, he has been blocked in, I have been followed, giving me the finger, calling me names. How am I gonna be, that's the reason why I don't sign the affidavit, because he's already coming after me. Am I gonna get Lisa on the stand and say something also? I just wanna know. The last couple of times, I got the witnesses there, you did not put her on the stand.
Well,
I
she
had
was on
no
the stand
backing.
this year, she was on the stand this year.
Oh, you wanna see, yeah, yes, Your Honor, yes, the $1,000 fine is okay. I don't see anything in there where she testified that he violated all this.
That's-
okay, Dennis,
I'll give you a fine.
Raymond.
I'm gonna give you a copy tomorrow, and you read it.
we probably have access to that. Gary, did you have something else?
Well, I mean,
We're into we have another
I know
meeting.
we're over.
so, take it a step at a time. The code officer can write a citation if they observe a violation. Okay, they see the facts, they look through the ordinances, yes, it violates this ordinance, this ordinance. If they don't see the violation, they have to have facts presented to them. So Mr. Raymond calls and reports facts, okay, to the code officer. Code officer takes those facts, looks at the ordinances, says, okay, that, in my opinion, would be a violation of this, this, and this. Okay. That doesn't allow the code officer to go out there on the property without a search warrant or consent. But it does allow the code officer, and I don't want to step into Mr. Grove's territory here, because he handles the prosecutions. I used to do them all the time. But the way it used to work, the code officer would get a hold of the prosecuting attorney and outline the facts and say, I want to get an administrative search warrant. And the attorney would maybe draft that up, and it would be taken to court. Now, if an affidavit was signed by the citizen, it's possible that Lisa could be the one that presents the search warrant request. Maybe Mr. Raymond wouldn't have to be there. And then the judge or magistrate is the one that decides. And if an administrative search warrant is issued, then the code officer, and it sounds like maybe accompanied by sheriff's deputies, could go on the property with camera, all the tools necessary to take notes, take photographs, to document what's observed. Okay? And if they observe violations, I'm sure as I'm sitting here, the prosecutor is going to call them as witnesses if it goes to a trial. If they go out and see nothing, I sure as heck, if I'm the prosecutor, I don't want to put somebody on the witness stand that's going to say, well, I didn't see any violations.
Now, Gary, the terminology you said, there's gonna call them as witnesses. This is our personnel and the police officer,
Right,
not you necessarily.
right, and so,
Okay, all
so I
right.
mean, and I'm so rusty on it, in a civil infraction action, I'm not positive that the prosecutor has to call all available witnesses. In that scenario I just outlined, you would have township sheriff witnesses that saw violations on a certain date. Okay, so that would be the basis to write a complaint or ticket charging the offense as of that date. Whether the prosecutor chose to also charge a violation as of the date of the observations reported by the complaining citizen, that's going to be the prosecutor's call. But you have to prove the violation as of the date alleged. So, I mean,
Right, so I can't speak for what any judge would say or what is correct in law, but it seems to me that there's enough stuff that's gone on with the current situation. We already have an appearance in court that there's, with this search warrant and investigation by our personnel and the police, that there's probably a way that I would hope that we could make it so that it would work, that you wouldn't have to appear personally in court. I can't guarantee that, but I mean, that's something that we can could be asked for. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Groth.
Yeah, no, I think it would definitely be workable, yes.
And it also means that, we can ask the sheriff's department to keep an eye on things over there and make passes through.
Well, they have done fine. Every time I file a complaint, they did come out. So, Lieutenant Snyder, he's been great on it. I've called, they've always come out within a matter of 10, 15 minutes. They've taken the complaints, there's like several of them there since all of this started. And I'm more concerned about my family.
Well, and I completely understand that, I do. And I think that that's why, the reason for this meeting right here is, right now you have two attorneys, one you're not happy with, but the point is, we have two attorneys that have significant background in what we can and can't do. You've gotten advice on the township's dime, I think, which is compensatory to some of the issues that you've had. I think it was worth having this conversation. I think there's other people that think it wasn't worth having this conversation, but I told you we would talk. I think it's good that the board is here to be able to hear all of these things that we're talking about, but the key is, what I said when I left was, let's find a way to agree or to agree to disagree. And in this scenario, we need to start clean. Clean meaning, we have another opportunity to go forward. Let's start with what the attorney needs to get a warrant to get on there without calling in advance. That's the only way we're gonna be able to do
Well, the
something with
hardest
surprise.
part, unless, again, if I file a complaint and Lisa does not go down there, it's gonna be where we're at right now, a bunch of disagreements. I can't go there, I'm not an ordinance officer, I'm not done, okay? All I'm saying is that, you can keep laughing, okay, but all I'm telling you is that, well, yeah, right, like this, sure, that's why your face is red.
Dennis, please.
But, okay, all right, all I'm saying is that I'm concerned for my wife. I'm tired of this crap, okay? I'm bringing it to the board, to the attorney. Okay, when I go there, if I have to appear, fine, but I want backing from Lisa also, that she also seen it. I'm not gonna be the scapegoat. I may not go there, maybe, you know, whatever happens, happens. But, again, he's got this big berm up there. You, before, when you came to my house, you were able to see. You can't see nothing now. You either need to fly over, somebody that operates a drone,
Okay,
or
now-
whatever. I'm just saying that.
I understand that. So now, unfortunately, we do have a public meeting that's
I'm sorry, okay.
10 minutes past. I allowed you to
Yeah,
have the
okay.
conversation. We have to repeat it a little bit, but I think that we have an avenue. So, moving forward, we'll initiate this process.
Yes.
Mr. Groth, you communicate with Mr. Raymond here
And Lisa,
and Lisa and start that process. And we'll do everything we can to help make this go away.
Okay.
Mr. Howell, I think Mr. Duval had a comment.
Mr. Dober, did you want to say anything else?
I don't need to say things more than once.
All right. Okay,
All right.
Dennis, I appreciate your coming, and thank you for,
All right, sorry.
I mean, you've spent a lot of energy, and I understand it, so don't go, please go away and think about a new avenue, and that we're gonna try and make things work right, and we'll do everything that we can possibly do to do that.
Okay,
Give us the time, too, though,
I will,
and,
as long as it doesn't take a year.
all right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. That meeting's adjourned. We'll, I think you fellas can travel home if you'd like.
Based on that, I think you should really increase your attorney fee budget for next year.
Ooh. I don't need to stay, right?
No, you guys can
Okay.
go home.
Thank you very much.
Ross, how are you?
Good,
Gary.
Hey, Gary?
Yes.
You want Gary?
Well,
And Paul? Hey, Paul?
wasn't it clear that his mission was to file an affidavit? I thought that was made clear a long time ago.
I said it 2 or 3 meetings ago.
Months ago.
So it's not our responsibility to file an affidavit.
no, because he observes what's going on there.
If he were to call and Lisa had the time